What up, everybody? Wayward City Games. I'm here joined by Jesse.
Hello.
And we're going to be talking about one of the funnest decks I've played in a while. Having a lot of fun with it. One of the only, probably the only yellow deck I've ever played. That's going to be the Sakuyamon coming out of EX2. Still playable, even though we're, a little bit past that.
Right.
This
was a passion project for you, though, because I remember like when it first came out and you were waiting for those extra plugins to come out in the maid mode. Yeah.
So EX2 hit, and I was really excited to get that plug-in play style because, even though it's yellow, you're just playing stuff out of every color. And then we got, all the extra plugins in the maid mode and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And we just, unfortunately, didn't get a video put out sooner. But the deck has just been so much fun to play. It's kind of complicated, but you find some surprising routes to do your combos and just...
Well, when you bring it out, too, in locals and stuff, like when it comes out, people are just like, I did not prepare for that deck at all. So
no one's ever ready for it.
Check this video out, bring it to your locals, and I guarantee you're going to just catch people off guard left and right.
Absolutely. All right, starting out with the egg from EX2, we got Viximon as a 4 of. Absolutely love the art on this.
Yep.
But the important part about this, when you use an option with 2 costs or more, draw a card.
Yep.
It's really big for just getting your plugins, and whenever you use plugins, getting your other pieces. Not much more to say about that.
It's meant for the deck.
It's designed for it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, getting into rookies. You got 4 EX2 Renamons. These are going to be on play, reveal top 4, searching for Cubimon, Taomon, or Sakuyamon, and a Rika. All very important things in the deck. That's a lot of your targets. So you rarely completely whiff on this.
You get one thing or two?
You get 1 Digimon of the name requirements and 1
the
Rika.
Okay.
Yep. And then as an inheritable, when you use an option with 2 costs or more, gain a memory. So you're playing your plugins for 1 a lot of times, stuff like that. It's pretty good. Then we have 4 copies of BT10 Renamon, one of the new editions coming out of BT10. This is going to be on play, reveal top 4 at a plugin and a yellow tamer. Doesn't have to be Rika.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yep. So this is how you're going to be finding plugins and if you really need them. And then its inheritable is the same as the EX3 4s and 5s. Whenever you use an option with cost 2 or more, you're going to give one of your opponent's Digimon minus 2k. Not a lot on its own, but you get 2 or 3 of those effects stacked up.
That's the scary thing is when you stack those. That's what I was
big
terrified
minuses. Yep. Then, just because we have this pretty artwork, we're playing 1 BT5 Renamon. On play, gives some security attack minus 1. It costs 4. You're stable at Dex Rika. It's a 3-setter, so you're going to be trying to go to 3. And, I mean, if you play this at 3, you just give them 1. Security attack minus, then you're trying to buy time sometimes just to... get your cards going. So
I love the legacy of this deck, though. Like how far long ago it started, and kind of like how long it's taken to really come together and be cohesive. I love it when you can like look ahead and just be like, this deck's going to be really good one day.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of decks that have been like that, where it's like we get like the level 6 that we're like, man, this would be really cool with a little bit of support, and then we get that in the spoilers for like 2 sets down the road, and we're like, whoa.
Yeah.
All right, just finishing out rookies with our 10 through 12. We have 3 copies of the Patamon from the starter deck.
Okay.
When an opponent's Digimon is dropped to 0 DP and deleted, gain a memory. It just kind of helps you extend plays sometimes, get that extra memory.
It fits with the theme of the deck, too, with your minusing DP and stuff.
And it's super adorable.
It's the floral artwork, right?
Yeah. Getting into our level 4s. We have 4 of the BT10 Cubimon. That's going to be when digivolving, you can either trash plugin to draw 2, or you can grab a plugin from trash, return it to hand.
Recycler.
Yep. Yeah, recycle or set up if you need it. Because, sometimes you're just looking for your 6s or your 5s really hard, and you just got to ditch the plugin sometimes. No inheritable, unfortunately. But EX2 Cubimon's going to fill up a lot of our other 4s. That's going to be when digivolving, reveal top 3, add a plugin to hand, bottom deck the rest. This whiffs 9 times out of 10. You never get your plugins off this. I don't know why. Maybe it's just me. Always whiffs. So you just go to this in the raising area. It's not worth trying to bank on it unless you absolutely have to. Yeah. Same inheritable. When you use an option, give minus 2k. So that's going to be pretty helpful.
Yep.
Then we have 1 copy of Kazemon. We're going to put that up here. And I mean,
your Kaze for game.
Kaze for game most of the time. Sometimes, you have your Tamers, you're just going to go on top of them just to, turn it into a 5 and a 6 and keep going. I've had games where I've had to do that, You Digivolve here, and then you go into your 5 if you got the memory. Use your plugins from there. Then getting into the 5s, we have from EX2 the Talmon. When Digivolving, you can play Eureka from hand without paying its cost. It is not contingent on not having one, so
that's
you can
such an important point too. Is
it really
the fact
is.
that it'll just let you play a second one.
Rika is like one of the few 3-set memory tamers that you're like trying to have all 4 out.
Yeah,
which is weird because it's a 4 cost, but it's like you need them all.
Yep.
Because if you can play all those plugins for free, it just goes hard. Then inheritable, use an option -2k. Like I said, pretty important because that's like most of the removal in this deck is just going to be these triggers when you play options.
Yeah.
So, moving on, we have 3 of BT10 Talmon. When Digivolving, you can use a plugin from hand without paying its cost. I mean, if you're at 3 and you have a level 4, you can go into this to free play Digievolution plugin to keep going up, stuff like that. Kind of lackluster. You can honestly go 4 and 2 in either direction on this. It's all personal preference. The inheritable is really nice. The tamers are needed, but sometimes you have don't have the tamers in hand, or you have enough of the tamers, so you're trying to get for the free plugins. So all personal preference. Let us know what ratios you guys like on that. Getting into our level 6s, we're playing 3 EX2 Sakuyamons.
Okay, so just 3 on that one.
Right. A lot of us are playing 4. You really could, but room's tight. We got some other stuff we're going to talk about. So we're playing 3. When Digivolving, you unsuspend one of your Digimon. So one of the things that's just I really like doing with this deck, thing with the Talmon, tap your Tamer to play a plugin, Digivolve into the Sakuya to get the unsuspend, stuff like that. When you Digivolve, you also, for each Tamer you have, get to pick up a plugin from trash, put in your hand.
Yeah.
That's for each Tamer. It doesn't have to be just Rika. So, I mean, if you had analog use, you can pick up Tamers.
Oh, so it's not even just yellow Tamers.
Right,
it's
any Tamer, pick up a plugin. So I've thought about trying analog youth. Haven't tried it out yet. Someone try it. Let us know how it works.
We're not that brave.
Yeah, not that brave. We got too many other decks to work on. Then continuing on, we got 3 copies of Sakuyamon Maid Mode coming out of BT10.
There's the new one. Yep.
Card is really, really good. Can go on top of a level 5 or a level 6. When Digivolving, it lets you play an option for free if it has plugin in name or is yellow, 5 cost or less. Ignoring color requirements. So this is the only way you can play your plugins without your tamers. Pretty important on that. And as long as it's, even half yellow, if it's 5 cost or less, you can play it off this. Unfortunately, we don't get Flame Hell Scythe because it's a 6 cost. I've tried, thought about it, and then I realized why I was dumb. But pretty good for that. And then whatever option you use goes on top of security. So you're also pseudo-recovering, knowing what that card's going to be.
Yeah.
And you can do some fun stuff with that. And then when attacking for a cost of 1, can Digivolve into the other Sakuyamon. And then you get the when Digivolving effect. So you can really just go back and forth on these two. I mean, I've had stacks with 2 or 3 of each of them before, which really aggressive and good playstyle, but you're kind of susceptible to that one piece of deletion. You're just out of the game.
Right.
That being said, because of having so many big stacks like that, we're actually playing an Omnimon Merciful mode.
I love that card.
Fun stuff you can do with this. So if you have, 3 megas, you're deleting 3 bodies or however many. And then the important part in my mind is at the start of your turn, this trashes and it goes back to being a Sakuya. So you can keep getting your free plugins off your turn. It's huge. My
favorite part about that card is the way it counters certain decks where it's just like you end up rolling who you're going to get paired against at the beginning, and like you sit down against a D Brigade player and you're like, oh man, I hope I get that Merciful mode. I hope I can just, or 3 Musk or, Jessmon or anytime or Machine Dramon, right? Like I'm just going to spin everything back to their deck.
I mean, this has definitely won me some games, and this has definitely just not ever shown up.
Yep.
It goes.
But that's what one-ofs do, right? They're either the hero or, the last card in your security before you lose.
Yep. I mean, there have been times where this is actually the last card in the deck, and I had to draw the entire deck. I don't remember why. And I've had the same thing with Kazemon. I had to draw the whole deck just to get the Kazemon, which you can do in this deck, turns out. So be careful on that. But yeah, it goes back to being Sakuya, so you can keep getting your free plugins. Also, one of the fun things is when you attack with either your Sakuyas, you can, for using your Tamer to play the green plugin, Digivolve into this for 3 less than its cost. So for only 3, you can go
that's
into
cool.
this.
Yeah.
So that's another really fun thing to do, especially if it's like last attack of the turn, tap the Rika, Digivolve for 3, give them 3, and try to clear their board, kind of.
I was thinking about that card too, is that nobody ever attacks with that because 9.9 times out of 10, that thing passes turn. Like,
right.
Nobody attacks with that.
Yeah, you're going to be checking with it.
Yeah.
The way it works. Then we have the lady herself, 4 copies of Rika. Start of your turn, go to 3. And then when you attack with Renamon, Taomon, or Sakuyamon, which is why we're playing so many of each of them, you can suspend her to play a option with plugin in its name from your hand without paying its cost. You can do a lot of cool shenanigans with that. I mean, the plugins are just so diverse and fun. They come from each of the colors, so they do every color's thing. So
yeah.
We'll get into my ratios on them, but plugins are just a lot of fun. I think they add a lot of spice to a lot of decks. And that's one of the things I loved about EX2 the most. Why we built this deck.
Well, it's such a tricky deck too, right? Because it's a deck that it's not a zoo deck, so you are digivolving, but you'll have to also find a way to make room for like a lot of options, which I think is really difficult to do.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell just by looking at our Digimon, like we have our 12 rookies, which is good, 9 4s, and then only 6 5s.
Yeah.
Because we have to play 6 6s.
Yeah.
And then we found room for the level 7 by taking out our 7th level 6 we used to have.
Yeah.
So I mean,
this is probably one of the tightest decks.
It's
for
tight,
sure.
But when you get your ratios ironed out, the deck's a lot of fun to play. So definitely give it a shot.
So start here because he's tested the hell out of this.
Oh yeah, definitely start here, and then change your 1 or 2 cards to your preference from there. Continuing on, because Sakuyamon likes Tamers so much, so you can get the extra plugins. We're actually playing 2 copies of Taiankari. This is red yellow Tamer. Start of your turn, gain a memory. If you have 3 or less security, gain a memory. If your opponent has 3 or less. This is, in my opinion, a deck that, even though it's yellow, is kind of more aggressive. You have removal with just by minusing things out when you play options.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention earlier, Sakuyamon, every time you play an option, -3 something. That's not a once per turn on hers too. So you have a lot of potential to just minus things out to clear boards. But you're still, early game going to take hits and, try to play aggressive. So you're going to get the 1 to 2 memory off this all the time. Going to 4 or 5 on this deck can be huge.
Yeah.
It can just do a lot more. Plus, when you attack, you can suspend to lower your opponent's security. We're attacking with our 6s, even our 5s all the time. So just making those safer attacks can be huge. Continuing on, getting into the bread and butter of the deck, we have some plugins. We have 3 copies of Digievolution plugin. Like all plugins, if you have a Tamer of any kind, ignore color requirements.
Yeah.
This one's going to be draw 1, then Digivolve one of your Digimon for 3 less than its cost. So pretty much everything other than Omnimon, you're Digivolving for free. Going into Merciful mode, it's going to cost you a total of 3 plus the 2 for the option if you're playing it from hand.
It's kind of like a mini HBD.
Yep. The fun part is with this is when you do it off of Rika, as I've mentioned so many times, because you'll attack 8k into 8k and then suspend a Rika to use a plugin to make yours now mine's 11 to your 8, or even like I've attacked bigger things but you get the minus triggers off. Yeah, so good combat tricks. Security effect, reveal 3, add a Digimon to hand, then add this to hand, so you're gonna have them.
This is definitely one of those decks where you bring extra dice, right? Because you want to be able to put those dice so you remember, like, this one's -6, this one's -3, this one's -2. It's like old school Lord Nightmon stuff, right?
Definitely got to keep track, because it's like you get -2 here, -2 there, 3, and then 3, and then 3. And yeah, especially if you're going kind of back and forth. So a lot to keep track of, for sure. We have 1 copy of Offensive Plugin. Once again, ignore color requirements if you have a Tamer. This one's going to be Security Attack +1. Security effect, reveal 3, looking for Tamers, then add to hand. Security goes to hand, gives security attack, which can help you with the aggression, especially if you can kind of combo it with the green plugins on attacking to get, 2 attacks with security attack plus 1 off Sakuya, you can clear a whole stack.
Yeah.
And to make that a little safer and more importantly, get around blockers.
This one's my favorite.
The high speed plugin.
Yeah, I like
Did
this
not
one.
play this for a while, I'll be honest with you, because it was like, I don't need jammy if I lower their security and I'm big enough and all this stuff. And that's because I didn't know it couldn't be blocked. I just didn't make it that far in reading. I don't know what happened. Security, draw and add to hand, so another good one. But yeah, I mean, with our Machine Dramon deck player who's always in the area, you can't DP reduce that blocker.
Yeah.
So.
Well, a big part about that too is just how prevalent Death X is now in the meta. Like, you have to always expect that you might hit one of those in security now. Like, cool, my Sakuyamon's like 13. I got your everything reduced. It's like, cool, but he's still 15k. He'll go down to 13 and he'll still kill you in security.
Even with both Tai and Karis, you're probably going to die to a Death X in security. Right. I've done it so many times. So you definitely need that one of. And I mean, even being one ofs, we have some draw and some search, and Sakuyamon recycles them when Digivolving, so that's why we have the extra Tamers, so you can pick up more plugins, more consistency there. Finishing off plugins, it's not a lot, I know, but one defensive plugin.
This is one of the ones you were waiting for, right?
Yeah, I was really excited for this one, because there's just so many times where you just need that one extra block, because, we're not playing any blockers in the list anymore. Yeah. And this one gives Reboot and Blocker. And I mean, it's cost 5, but you can free play it with so many different ways. Yeah. And coming out of security, this was reveal 3, and then play a Digimon with cost 4 or less, and then add to hand.
It was like a pride boost kind of combo thing.
It's kind of like a pride boost, but coming out of security. I'm surprised D Brigade players don't play this one more, to be honest with you.
That's true. That's a good card.
Because I mean, worst case scenario, you're getting a blocker for a turn. But this one's fun because, there'll be times you reveal 4 and you get that extra rookie and you get their on-play effects, which could be your security attack minus. So that's kind of why it doesn't come out of the deck, even at one of.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you don't often get to get the free play just because there's only 12 targets. But, I mean, it still goes back to hand and you get to play it and get more blockers. That's going to be it for our plugins, but we do have a couple other options to talk about. The white plugin, I don't really see a reason to play. It just gives +3. It just doesn't seem worth, but I guess you could try it.
Yeah.
I mean, coming out of
try
security,
it out.
Coming out of security, gain a memory. So
let us know how it works.
Yeah. We got 2 copies of Memory Boost.
I think that's super important. I was wondering if I couldn't remember if you put that in this deck, but like looking at the ratios and like how tight their room is with all those options, I was like, I bet he plays at least 1 or 2 boosts. Yeah. Just to be able to get that search when he needs to.
You really have to. I mean, there are so many times like you're sitting on like 2 or 3 level 4s, like where are my 5s?
Yeah.
Just playing Go Fish. So you really have to play them. And I mean, absolute worst case scenario, like you can free play these off the made mode and
oh yeah, I didn't think of that.
Just to get extra cards. It's kind of weird though because of the interaction of where is it supposed to go. Correct me if I'm wrong. This does still go to battle area, correct?
Yeah, it should.
Because it's part of the main effect.
Yeah, the delay. Yeah.
You don't get the recover, but you still get the free search, which is really good. Then we have our now only sadly 1 Sunrise Buster. When this was a 2 of, this deck was a monstrosity with it. I mean, there were games where I got 2 coming out of hand, 2 mid modes. And going on top of security. Yeah. And my opponent's sitting there knowing my next 2 security are Sunrise Busters.
And they're just going to play more Tamers.
To allow me to play more Tamers and get more DP reduction. You could tell by the look on their face they weren't about it. And I mean...
I think you can blame Crossheart for weakening Sakuya, for sure.
I mean, Sakuya Maid Mode really kind of did break this card on her own. It's just the deck wasn't as popular, so people didn't see it as much, I think is what it was. But I mean, we're gonna miss that Sunrise Buster, but it had to go, let's be real. Then replacing that one of, we're gonna have 1 Holy Flame.
Old card.
Old card. I mean, the first time I saw this in the last couple months, I was like, what is that again? But I mean,
so good out of security.
We're gonna put it into security with maid mode if we can. Main effect is give 1 thing -3 security attack. Security effect, give everything -1 security attack. So using this off of made mode Digivolve can really buy you at least 1, if not 2 turns.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the whole deck list. I think we're playing more options than we are rookies here.
As many. I mean, this deck is always good whenever I go against you. It's always just like a coin toss. I'm like, is he going to get the plugins he needs? And I mean, the more you play against it, the more you realize like how good it is and just how consistent those plugins are with the recycle. You know, it's like he plays one, you're like, okay, cool, that one's gone, and then you remember halfway through, like, oh, he gets it back. So very, very, especially since you get multiple back. So for every tamer you have, you can just recycle. So if it doesn't look like he plays a lot of plugins, he doesn't need to because he gets to reuse them.
Yeah, I used to play, I think, 2 of all these. I don't even know how I had the room.
Yeah,
I think I only played 4 tamers at the time too. But
so if this is a deck that you're interested in, make sure you check out this version. And it's not. I mean, aside from alt arts, it's not an expensive deck to build.
Yeah, and I mean, you can live without the merciful mode. I think it does work, but I mean, if you can't get your hands on one or don't think it's worth it, you could just go more Sakuyas. Of honestly either one, probably the EX2 one would be better to go up on.
And for all the Death X haters out there, look, we finally gave you a Death X list deck.
We finally gave you a 50 card deck instead of a 49 plus 1.
Exactly. So there you go.
Yeah.
Be happy. All right. See you guys later. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and check out our other videos. They're all around us in these boxes.